Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm honoured to stand in this House to follow up on our discussion about the cuts experienced by the Odawa Centre as a result of changes to federal funding geared towards helping the homeless. Shawenjeagamik, the centre at 510 Rideau, which helps Ottawa's Indigenous homeless population, is under great financial duress due to changes to federal funding geared towards helping the homeless. Through the Odawa Friendship Centre, this desperately needed drop-in centre, which has been operating for over 10 years, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people in Ottawa have had a place to go. In fact, it has been a place that has been vital to the healing of First Peoples in Ottawa, many of them who are at risk and in transition. Shawenjeagamik is committed to enhancing the health and well-being of the Aboriginal homeless community. It is a place where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. Its protocol is guided by 7 gifts of the grandfather teachings: honesty, humility, trust, love, bravery, caring, and courage. Here in Ottawa, it offers unique, culturally appropriate services that provide not just a physical space for people to go, but a space that embraces the diversity of needs and responds with care and compassion. Mr. Speaker, a couple of weeks ago, I attended a rally that was held here in Ottawa in front of City Hall to bring attention to the need for the centre. And I heard from many of the people that frequent what is known as 510, and they clearly articulated how important that space is for them. It's important for them to find services that meet their physical needs and also their emotional, spiritual, and cultural needs. Those that have spoken out, whether it be in the news, online, or at the rallies in support of the centre, have rightly drawn the connection between the history of colonialism here in Canada and the deep need for a culturally appropriate space for those that still are trying to overcome trauma in their life. Shawenjeagamik welcomes close to 100 people a week and supports these individuals by providing hot meals, laundry services, crisis counseling, and transition services. As well, Indigenous homeless clients from across the city are referred to 510 Rideau for culturally appropriate support based on trust, friendship, and mutual respect. Mr. Speaker, I rise in this House to follow up on this question that I asked a few weeks ago in asking the government when Shawenjeagamik 510 Rideau can see some response to the need that it has, and without meeting that need, or pardon me, I should say, avoid what could happen if that need is not met, which would be closing its doors, which would in turn leave so many First Nations and Métis and Inuit peoples in Ottawa without a place to go.
Well, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs.
Thank you very mumuch, Mr. Speaker, and I do appreciate the honourable member's interest in this question. As the Minister indicated in his reply on February the 5th, that it is understanding that this was a decision that was made by the City of Ottawa to reduce this funding. Certainly our government believes that we need to work with willing partners across the country and in the City of Ottawa as well to provide services in a culturally appropriate manner and to do so in a way that also respects taxpayer dollars. Mr. Speaker, we remain committed to an urban Aboriginal strategy. I've had the pleasure of announcing several funds in different events across the country where we have provided funding for Aboriginals who are Aboriginal people who are away from their home reserves, who are looking for services in a culturally appropriate setting. We've worked closely with the friendship centres right across this country to deliver those kinds of services. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to do so in a way, again, that is responsible both to taxpayers and takes into account the needs of Aboriginal Canadians, working with willing partners to deliver those services.
Member for Churchill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I, of course, was here to hear the Minister's response, who did point the blame, I guess, on the City of Ottawa. But we are aware that there were changes that were made to the criteria around homeless funding, and while, of course, the City of Ottawa must take leadership in restoring funding, we we also are saying that there needs to be broader federal leadership when it comes to investing in services for the homeless that are particular to Indigenous people who find themselves in urban centres, living on the margins or falling through the cracks. And I know this to be the case for my own home community. That funding has not been sustainable, has not been long-term, and obviously causes a great deal of distress for those for those who are on the street, but also for those that are keen to provide these services. So I would ask the Parliamentary Secretary and his government to consider the importance of supporting funding when it comes to homeless services for First Nations, Métis and Inuit peoples in Canada.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And as I indicated previously, and as the member has indicated as well, this was a decision that was taken by the City of Ottawa. And again, we partner with cities, with friendship centres, with service delivery providers right across the country to deliver services to Aboriginal Canadians where they live, and we will continue to do so with our Aboriginal urban strategy. We will continue to work to address homelessness with the provinces and local cities, and we look forward to continuing to do that in a way that respects taxpayer dollars and is culturally sensitive to our Aboriginal peoples.